Well, there is, and nothing can be looked at just in a vacuum. I do want to tell you that there was only one photo of George Zimmerman taken at the actual scene. That was taken by a police officer's iPhone, and he actually snapped it there. Those photos you were just looking at with Zimmerman's other injuries, the broken nose, the bloodied back of the head, those were taken when he got back to the station. And I want to tell you really what's significant in here, too, in terms of there was definitely a fight here. And this is the first time that we have seen evidence of a real fight.
All right, Michelle Suskauer, criminal defense attorney out of Naples, Florida. You and I and the rest of our panel looking at these for the first time. What does it say vis-a-vis the case against George Zimmerman?
Well, I think these are very, very helpful photos for George Zimmerman. And if you add those along with the autopsy results, I think this really helps his self-defense claim. I mean, the claim about the back of his head, remember, Jane, we looked at the videotape from the police station. You couldn't really see any of that because he was really cleaned up. All of the blood, the fact that he had a broken nose, 2 black eyes, there was absolutely a fight here. This is going to be very helpful. I'm sure the defense is very happy with this information.
All right, and we're going to talk about 2 other big pieces of news in a moment out of the document dump. But first to Mark Lamont Hill, professor, Columbia University, host Our World with Black Enterprise out of Philadelphia. You're looking at these photos as well. What do they say to you, Mark?
Well, there's obviously evidence of some sort of struggle, but they don't say to me anything exculpatory. There's nothing here that makes me think that there's nothing here to refute the idea that George Zimmerman still initiated an altercation and still used unnecessary force. You know, the idea that Trayvon Martin may have had THC in his system, the idea that he may have had marijuana in his system is not evidence that he was an aggressor. In fact, there's no evidence medically that marijuana makes someone more aggressive. The idea that George Zimmerman had a cut on his nose right here doesn't necessarily mean that his nose was broken. We need some conclusive evidence that his nose was even broken. But again, even if all of it is true, even if he really had bleeding, even if he really had a broken nose, although there was no evidence of that on the camera we saw a few weeks ago, even if all that's true, it doesn't mean that George Zimmerman didn't use unnecessary force. It doesn't mean that he's not guilty of second-degree murder. Right. Let's not jump to conclusions.
Lisa Bloom, author Swagger at the Bloom firm. You're looking at these photos as we all are for the first time, but look at that cut. Now, I had asked when the medical report came out showing that he had a broken nose, according to his family doctor, my first question, are there x-rays? Because a lot of people said, hey, you know, pretty much you're friends with your family doctor. You could hypothetically get your family doctor to say just about anything if you're in a pinch, perhaps. But now we're seeing these photographs. Does it change the equation?
Well, I want to connect this all up. So we have a mark on Trayvon's left knuckle, and we have a mark on Zimmerman's nose. Does that mean that Trayvon punched him in the nose? Was Trayvon left or right-handed is a question that I have, because otherwise the left-handed injury could be defensive or offensive, depending on whether he's left or right-handed. Clearly there was a scuffle. We don't know who initiated it. We don't know who escalated it. We don't know who threatened who. So this is clearly some important relevant evidence, but it's only a piece of the story.